Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sideline Eye podcast. I'm delighted to have a very special guest on this evening, and it's Kieran Donaghy talking us through what's coming up on Saturday. This is the Club All Star versus the County Future Stars game on Saturday at 5 o'clock in the box at Athletic Grounds. Kieran, this is a wonderful event. We're all really looking forward to it. It's the first time that Armagh have tried something like this, and I suppose from your point of view, what are you looking for? It's a great chance to see some of the quality players in the county and some younger boys and newer boys coming through.
Yeah, I think it's definitely kind of a great opportunity, Sean, for talent spotting. I think obviously the club guys have made the team because of their performances all year have been, of that kind of standout level. And then you've obviously the Armagh selection, which is probably guys that we've been looking at, and they'll get a good opportunity now to put on the orange and white and go take on a really good team, and there's no better place or a better environment to see where guys are at until they're really thrust into the middle of that kind of big crowd. The Armagh crowd are probably the best in the country, the way they come out behind their team. So I would say having them there in big numbers will also add that factor for the players to see what they like and see how they thrive under that probably bit of spotlight and that bit of pressure. So that's something that you can't really see in trial games normally. But this is a great initiative to see some of that on view.
How have the trials been going, Kieran? Because I know a lot of the players that you have been looking at, sort of younger fellas, but players that have impressed in the club championship too, across all junior, intermediate, and senior championships. So there's a lot of players getting their chance, and hopefully they'll take it this Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look, it's interesting to see because they're obviously they're new to this kind of level. A lot of them, it's a very young. We've tried to look on the youth side of it as well and giving those fellas chances. So it will be a great opportunity for them because like the club team is stacked with your Oisin O'Neills, your Soupy Campbells, your real top players. So it'll be a great chance for them to see. It reminds me in a way, even for myself, even with the underdogs starting out that time, it was the same kind of feel of the game, a big crowd in Austin Stacks Park, Kerry playing against a bunch of underdogs. There was a few good Armagh men in there in that team with me as well. And yeah, it was a kind of a one-off game, but you could kind of see fellas that stood out in that game able to handle the pressure of the big crowd, the atmosphere. I know the gates are opening at 4 o'clock. I know all the Armagh players that aren't involved in a playing capacity on the night are there for meet and greet with the players. There's freebies, there's Christmas raffles, there's a lot going on outside of the game. But once 5 o'clock comes and throwing starts for those players, it's possibly the best chance they'll get to make an impression on the night and an impression on both the fans that come in and indeed us as a management team and even their fellow players that might be playing, that be looking in from the stand. A real opportunity to see what they have to offer, and no better place to do it in the box at Athletic Grounds Saturday at 5 o'clock.
That's probably a really great aspect of it, Kieran, is that it is a charity game and the children coming and everything else, meet and greets and all that. But once that ball's through in, we're expecting a competitive match because everybody wants to impress here. Everybody wants to put their hand up and get into the Armagh panel for next year.
Yeah, look, it's obviously like there's two great causes. There's obviously the training facilities for the Armagh teams to get some more funds for that, and then southern area hospice as well. So look, they're two unbelievable causes. I don't think there's too much else on next Saturday night at 5 o'clock. It's a good time for a game. I'm glad it's 5 and it's not at 7:30 or something. People will still be able to get their night out if they want to go afterwards when they get the kids home. But yeah, no, it'll be a great buzz there in the night, and I'm sure, like with the amount of players and fellas that know them players and getting to see them wear the Armagh jersey on the night, there'll be a real coming together of the GAA community up there. And look, it's definitely a great opportunity for these players, and it's kind of one you'll be hoping that some of them will take.
I suppose you mentioned the underdogs in Kerry as well. There's the regional teams that enter the championship too. It's probably a bit difficult for players to know really what to expect here when they're playing with other players that they maybe have come up against at a club level with, they haven't played with maybe they've played underage with them and haven't played with them in a couple of years. So from a player's perspective, particularly the trialists trying out, it's probably a bit difficult to know what to expect come Saturday.
Yeah, it is, and I think your outlook as a player is probably important going into this game Saturday. You want to be working hard. You want to be trying to help your teammates as best as possible. I think kind of going for glory will stand out a mile. Whereas the fellas that are putting in on a shift and trying to help their respective teams win. I know something from our underdogs team that day. We played a few games together and we'd probably been on a bit of a journey for a few months, so it was slightly different. But I remember the key messages that were given that night before the game was play for each other. Don't be going for. I know there's a big crowd here and the TV is here, and their main message was don't be going for glory. Play together, give the ball to the best man in the best position, and that'll give us the best chance of winning. And when you're trying to impress management teams, whether it be for their own clubs or the Armagh setup, you impress by playing the right way, I think is a huge thing that management teams would look at now. Obviously, we'd like to see a bit of flair and some great scores kicked. But we're looking out for who can help make the team better in all facets of the game, and the game has never been before valued on your all-around ability as a footballer. There's only one or two key guys that might get away with being an out-and-out forward. The game has moved in such a way that you even see Kilmacud Crokes there at the weekend. They've got Mannion and Shane Walsh, but both of them are back at their own 45. They're both working for the team. They're both transitioning up the pitch quickly. So it's a great chance to see what these players can bring in terms of all of that, all the all-around package. How good are they on the ball? What's the decision making like under pressure? Are they running? Are they a good teammate? All stuff that are vitally important to keep an eye on players that you're potentially looking to bring in.
And there has been some fresh talent coming through in the last 2 years. Kieran, maybe most notably the likes of Kieran Mackin 2 years ago, Shane McParlin this year, Oisin Connady. There's good talent in Armagh coming through, and I suppose that's what you're really looking for on Saturday.
Yeah, like the three players you mentioned are going to be very important players for us this year, and that's really what you're looking for. It's the amount and how many will actually come through to affect big championship games is one thing, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to layer up all the time on the depth of your squad. And when I was first starting with Armagh maybe 4 years ago, that was a kind of a bit of a worry, was the training aspect and was the second team up to it in terms of bringing it to the starting team every night. That certainly hasn't been an issue over the last number of years. Our depth of the squad has improved. I think a lot of that's down to Kieran and the work that he's done in the background over the last 7 or 8 years. Obviously, the players coming through, trying to make sure that every one of them have an opportunity. He always says himself that he's an open door policy when it comes to the stuff like that. So that's extremely important as well, to see that that them players know that there's a chance for them there. That if they play well, if they train the right way, if they've got the right attitude around the group, we've no problem in putting them in, starting them, playing them in big games. And certainly Shane McPartland and Kieran Mackin over the last number of years have been two huge players for us. And Oisin Connady showed flashes of brilliance last year, and flashes of what makes him a special player is how hard he works for the team, his pace, his power, his unselfishness. And he'll be he can have a very good year for us this year also.
And we're looking for a big crowd hopefully coming on Saturday, Kieran. And I know down through the last couple of years you've been very complimentary of the Armagh fans and the numbers that they bring to games, and that's going to carry in the next year as well. And I suppose how big of an influence has Armagh have the fans been over your last 3 or 4 years with the county, and what has your overall I suppose enjoyment been from mixing with the crowd?
Oh, I know, like, I can only speak in my own terms in a way. At least to my face, everyone is complimentary and happy enough with probably the effort that it takes to get up and down the road twice or 3 times a week when it comes to the summer. But look, they're a great group of supporters. As I said, I don't think there's anybody else rivals them out there. Last year, at times when it wasn't going great, it shifted the other way at times, which is what you're trying to guard against, and trying to get people to maybe look at the bigger picture of where we are at the moment, which is we've been beaten in 3 penalty shootouts, 2 All-Ireland quarterfinals. We're that close to being in the top 4 teams of the country. Also with the Ulster final last year, even the year before that when Monaghan beat us in an unbelievable game in Park Esler and Newry. They went on, I think, to really give it a push that year as well. So I just think, a bit of patience when times get tough. There's a lot of games coming at us quick and fast in this new modern era of football that we're playing. We're trying to play different guys at different times to try and get a bit of balance in the squad and keep everybody's interest at a really high level. And it's been brilliant. Look, they're a fantastic group of players. I've really enjoyed my time with the management team. Dennis, Julie, the 2 Kierans, Hugh Campbell in the background. They've been really good, to be a part of, and I've really enjoyed it. Obviously, I didn't think I'd be still here 4 years on, but I guess that tells its own story. I know we're close, and I think a lot of the players know we're close. We have to keep training the right way, practicing the right way, and just hope for a small bit of luck and a small bit of fortune on the big days. And if that could turn and we get the momentum of that happening as a group of players, and the momentum that the crowd can give when they really get behind this team, it's something that can go a long way for the rest of the year.
And Kieran, you mentioned the penalty defeats in the last 2 years. I wasn't going to bring it up, but I suppose on Saturday, if you could get maybe a few penalties, we could get a look at maybe some of the younger boys hitting them and see how they get on.
Yeah,
it's nearly a requirement at this stage.
It's really a requirement. Yeah, no, it's funny. It's not funny, not one bit funny, to be honest with you. But my own club team here, we were in the penalty shootout against David Clifford's Fossa in the semi-final of the championship this year, and just we were up by a point and we were trying to hold them out, and Clifford does what he does and kicks a wonder point from out in the left wing to tie it right to the death, and the next kick out the whistle goes for penalties, and I literally walked. I was kind of helping out with the team in the background, and I literally walked over to the dugout and just sat down. I was just like, I'm not going to advise you. I'm not going to tell you what to do because I haven't had much luck recently. I had more luck as a player, would you believe? But I haven't as much luck lately. And I said, I just want to leave you at it. You do it your way. I'm not going to butt in. And we still lost. So it's I was supposed to, when I said to Kieran that I've been lucky throughout my career and that I was hopefully going to be a good luck omen for him. I certainly haven't been in the penalty shootout so far. So look, hopefully we can get the job finished off this year at times and keep it out of penalty shootouts, or if we do get to one, just get a small bit of the rub of the green. But there certainly aren't any fun to be a part of. Now the one Saturday night might be a bit more fun because I think there'll be far less pressure on it. It might be a bit of crack, but maybe the ref might take it that way.
I suppose with a split season nowadays, Kieran, the Armagh were finished up I think in early July. And then obviously the club season swings into gear, but county football is very near returning with the McKenna Cup coming up after Christmas and then straight into the National League. So I suppose it doesn't belong coming round again the county season.
Yeah, no, it's split season by name, but it's actually very tough, I think, on the county players at the moment because their season's pretty all in, Like I think the club players might get a break from now until February or whenever they kick off their seasons. But I think the county man is I see it in Kerry here, like Paul Ganey and Tom Sullivan from Dingle. They played in the All-Ireland final the last weekend in July, and they've played 15 club games from July to now what we are in the start of December. Which is a crazy number on top of the season they've had. And as if you rightly pointed out, now they have a Munster club final next week, this weekend against Castlehaven, and wherever that takes them, it takes them. If they win, they're obviously into the semi-final. If they don't, they're going to be probably back in Kerry training. So it's a tough schedule for the county player. They're required to be at their best all year round, and it definitely is a tough one. in Armagh it's a little different. I know the way, we've the club championship and county championship down here. I think it's the only, you don't have that two competitions. So we've two groups around robins down here, so it's a crazy amount of games. So hopefully the Armagh boys that were involved are ready to go. The guys that are still in competition, obviously the three Cullyhanna boys who are doing really well. Best wishes to them at the weekend. They have a big one coming up. But you'll be hoping everybody else is pretty, is in pretty good shape. I think there was nice 2 or 3 week gaps between all year games, whereas we're playing weekly down in Kerry. So it's hopefully they'll be nice and fresh, and that's what it's looked like so far. Since they've come back, so they're looking fresh and looking hungry for another go at it this year.
And I'm sure you're looking forward to competitive action coming back, Kieran, because I know training is great and the players mightn't like pre-season too much. So getting into the McKenna Cup and the league, just getting competitive games again, I'm sure players and management alike are all looking forward to it.
Yeah, 100%. It's great to, the McKenna Cup will be definitely used to see, see what we can get out, see is there other players out there that we can look at for later on down the line. So it's very good from that point of view. And yeah, obviously, look, the start of the National League will be in the door to us. 2 huge games against Louth and Meath in the first 2 games, both at the Box Athletic grounds. We've made that a bit of a fortress over the last few years. So you'll be hoping that, maybe this weekend that's the start of something special, that that we're coming back for more big games in more big crowds, both in the McKenna Cup and indeed in them first 2 National League games, which are huge games for us at the start of the year.
And the league's going to be nearly a mini Ulster Championship again. Kieran, you had Donegal through Monaghan last year. You have Donegal for Monaghan Calvin this year. I think Armagh fans are nearly sick of playing Ulster teams. We see them in the McKenna Cup, the league, and obviously the Ulster Championship on the All-Ireland series this year as well. So I suppose getting to play outside of Ulster, the likes of Meath and Louth, as you mentioned, Cork, Kildare, that'll be a nice change as well.
Yeah, no, look, it's a very division. We're probably unlucky really to be there on the evidence of last year's league. I think we were extremely unlucky in 1 or 2 results that went against us. But this Division 2 is a seriously competitive division. You saw it last year with Dublin and Derry fighting it right out. I think Clare nearly beat Dublin in a game last year in Croke Park, if I'm not mistaken. They were 6 up with like 7 or 8 minutes to go. So you really have to be on your toes, and none other than Louth. They're after a great year last year. They'll come to the Box Athletic grounds in great form. Meath obviously are on the back of the Tailteann Cup, which is a huge win for them. They're on a bit of a journey under Colin O'Rourke. So there'll be 2 really competitive, hard games to start with. But as you rightly say, getting a break from playing the Ulster teams won't do anybody any harm. So yeah, look, it's going to be very competitive. I think Kildare are a good side too. And then obviously, as you said, you've got the 3 Ulster games thrown into the mix of it. And then you've Cork away. And you saw what they were able to do last year in getting to the quarterfinal stages. So look, it's going to, I think them top 2 divisions, there's nothing in between a lot of them teams, and it'll be very competitive for sure. And it's important that we get off to a good start, and that'll be the first game against Louth, which will be unbelievably competitive. But hopefully we can put in a good performance and that the crowd can help us get over the line.
Kieran, brilliant. Thanks very much for coming on and giving us your time. We're expecting a good crowd on Saturday for the Club All-Stars against the future County Stars. There's the throw-in is at 5 o'clock in the Box Athletic grounds, but as Kieran mentioned, the gates are open from 4, and all your favourite County Stars will be there for autographs, selfies, whatever else, for all the kids. So make sure to get in early and get to meet the whole Armagh team and the whole panel. Kieran, brilliant for coming on. We'll be back on Wednesday. We have a live up for the match preview podcast ahead of Cullyhanna's Ulster final with Ballyhaise this weekend. So anybody that can get to Cullyhanna 7:30 in the Cullyhanna Social Club, you'd be very welcome for our live event. Kieran, brilliant for coming on. Thanks for giving us your thoughts, and we look forward to a good day on Saturday.
No bother.